We're talking today about parents who often fall out with their children, adult children, particularly when they're about making important decisions of their lives. Hello, people. So, we're talking today about parents who often fall out with their children, adult children, particularly when they're about making important decisions of their lives. How can they handle such? How can the parents handle that? In my previous videos, I talked about why most parents do that and why some children are unapologetic and stand their ground firmly, insisting that it has to be their way and they don't pay attention to their parents. So today I would like to talk about how to resolve such differences between parents and their children. Resolving such differences between parents and their children, the first thing to do is, as a parent, you should just be grateful that you are being called as a parent. Whether they are your biological children, adopted, or however it is that you came about being a parent, you should thank God that you're bearing the name of a parent, because a lot of people are still looking for how to be called parents. It has been a whole lot of struggle. So appreciate God for the fact that He gave you an opportunity and a privilege to be called a parent. That's one. Secondly, if you had the chance of bringing up these children and raising them to the adult level that they are right now, it's something to be thankful for. Being that you must have at this point imbibed all the virtues that you want to see them possess, all the virtues, all the ideas, all the principles, whatever that you want. And no wonder the Bible says that you should train up a child in the way that he should go, so that when he or she is old, that child will definitely not depart from that way. So if you have been able to nurture your children from childhood, from being infants to the level of being adults, to the point that you're beginning to have issues with them, then it's something to be thankful for. That means that you will have virtues in them that should be able to sustain them into adulthood. You don't have anything to fear, you don't have anything to be worried about, because at the end of the day, these children will be able to make meaningful decisions that will help propel them into better lives. And those values and the virtues that you have imbibed in them from childhood into adulthood should be able to sustain them to such a level that you should be able to trust your impact on them. You should be able to trust your input in their lives. Okay. So now your duty as a parent, that where we're having issues is that parents don't tend to maintain boundaries. Parents just feel the number one, they don't want to respect these children. As their parents, you have to realize that at this point now they are adults, fully matured, and they want to explore. They want to enjoy this benefits of being independent. So you have to treat them with that respect as the adults that they have now become. They are now adult and therefore should be treated as such. Treat them as adults, respect them. When you talk with them respect, not anyhow. Most parents believe that no matter how old you are, I can never give you respect. You're still my child. Nobody is arguing that point with you, because your child will always be your child. However, you would not want your child to remain a child in thinking, in developmental stages, and all that. So they have evolved over the years, and you have to evolve as they are evolving. You cannot continue to treat them as a little boy, as a little girl that used to treat them in years past. You have to treat them with utmost respect. The years that they have accumulated, the principles, the values, and everything you have imbibed, they should be able to show that okay, they deserve your respect. So the first thing you want to do as a parent to your adult children is to relate with them respectfully, that you'll be treating adult children outside with respect, but you have no regard for your own children who are also adults, probably much older than the ones you will give respect to outside. So the first thing you want to do as a parent is to ensure that you give your children the respect that is due to them. The second thing you want to do as a parent of an adult child is, since you are the one that has raised them to this adult point, you should be calm towards them. We all agree that sometimes as children can be handful and everything. So sometimes we tend to shout, raise our voices, and talk to them as children that they are. Now that your children are fully matured and they're adults, you should find a way to stay calm, talk to them in a comported way. Don't talk to them raising your voice and shouting. Even if they go wrong or they don't do things as you expect them, there's a way you approach them without really being loud and yelling. You don't always yell at your adult children because that would make them to be defensive. Even if you're trying to relate a message that should make sense to them, that they should listen to you, by the time you start yelling and you're shouting and you're all over the place, adult children will want to defend themselves. They will build defenses around themselves, defenses that seem as if they are fighting you literally. So you would want to stay calm when you talk with them. You want to talk to them with some kind of calmness and would want to listen to you when you do that. Even if what you're saying does not resonate with them at the time, they will still want to listen to you. And then after they leave, they would give it some thoughts. But when you shout and yell at them, believe you me, they're not even listening to you, let alone to implement what it is that you're trying to tell them. So staying calm when you interact or relate with them would go a long way in resolving always be available for your children to converse with them, have decent and meaningful conversations with them when they need you. If you're a busy type and due to whatever reasons you won't be available when they need you, apologize to them and then reschedule. Ask them when next it will be convenient. That is if it is not urgent. But if for any reason they call you and they tell you it's urgent, please, in your capacity as a parent, if it is something that you can rearrange your own schedules, try and reach out to them. They're available when they want to have a conversation so that it won't be too late, because most times parents get so busy, and even when the children ask to sit down, talk things over or to discuss some issues, parents would often say they are busy until on a later date or on a later time. And at that time, the children would not feel the need again. They would have sorted out themselves somewhere with friends, with other colleagues, and family friends, and all that. And in order for them not to make mistakes, it would be good that you're always available to have a conversation with them. When you have a conversation with them, don't insist to impose your opinion on them. Talk with them in a way that suggests, okay, this is the positive side of things. If you do things this way, this is how it's likely to turn out. And if you go the other way, these are the negative impacts that may result in. And then you allow them and hope that they make the right decisions. Don't impose anything on them. Don't make it forceful. And that way they will learn to listen to you. Even if they start or decide to go on with your advice and they get hooked on the way, somehow they don't always come back to you to ask for a way out. That's number three. This brings us to our point, which is, as parents of adult children, you have to learn how to talk with your children, not talking to them. You talk to younger children, you talk to smaller kids, but you talk with your adult kids. There's a difference between talking to a person and talking with a person. A conversation, it's something that you don't just always be on the top of the matter. You don't just give instructions. You don't just expect them to always obey what you said as a rule or anything. No, you talk with them, you wait for your feedback, and then have them talk with you, and then converse in such a way that both parties understand each other and have an idea of what they are going through and the point from which they are coming, the angle from which they are approaching things, and that will make sense to them. They will not see it as being controlling. It will go a long way in resolving most of the issues and the tensions between adult children and their parents. Like we discussed earlier in the previous video, major problem that used to come up between parents and their adult children is an issue of communication. It's not what you're saying, but how you're saying it that really matters. Sometimes you may be saying the right thing, you may be saying the appropriate thing, but you are saying it in an appropriate manner, and because of that, the way and manner in which they accept it, will not be what you expect normally. So when you talk with them, you have a good conversation, communicate in a better way, listen to them, wait for their feedback, wait for their responses, so that they won't have to react to you being overbearing and all of that. As a parent, after you have done all that we have mentioned, it's important to pray for your adult children. You pray for them because there's influence of yours that may be interfering with what you're doing, what you have so far achieved in their lives. Then there are influences from environment, from society, from social media, and all that. So it's your duty to really pray for them, because at this their age you really don't have control over what they watch, what they listen to, who their friends are, who they choose to be with, who their partners are, their spouses, and everything. To a level and not to an extent, they have the sole responsibility of deciding that for themselves. So it's your duty to really pray for them so that they don't make mistakes. And if by venture they make such mistakes and they come to you for advice, do not say I told you so. Just let them understand the way out, let them be able to sort things out, and then with time, before they even came to you, they already know that you said so. So if they someone the courage to say come to you after disobeying and ignoring whatever counsel you gave to them, then that means they're aware that you have said so. So you do not have to echo it out to them again. Don't say I told you so. Don't say if you had listened to me. That's not the time to caution blames. That's not the time to blame them. That's the time to help them out of the situation. And then they already know. So whatever it is, it's going to be okay. Prayerfully pray for them that they will not make costly mistakes, they will not make costly mistakes, and they will not make irreversible mistakes. And the Lord God Almighty will keep both you and your children, and you will enjoy the fruit of your labor. Thank you for stopping by. I guess I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.